Fox News Alert, the U.S. joining the hunt for a leader of a Nigerian terror group behind the kidnappings of more than 270 girls, sending military intelligence and law enforcement teams to support the government there in Nigeria in its search for the leader of Boko Haram, who you're seeing apparently on the screen right now. This is we learned that 8 more girls were kidnapped over the last 48 hours, and that the warlord plans to sell these girls into slavery.
I sell women, and I'll sell women as commanded by Allah until the land is filled with the blood of unbelievers.
In the meantime, President Obama weighing in this morning on the growing threat of this Islamic group.
We've always identified them as one of the worst local or regional terrorist organizations there is out there. But I can only imagine what the parents are going through.
Joining me now, David Gartenstein-Ross, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, and Jamie Williamson, a retired Colonel, Army Green Beret. Nice to have you both. David, let me talk to you first about Boko Haram. What do you think every American needs to know about this group?
It's a brutal group that has been attacking targets based on both its strategy and also its ideology. In addition to kidnapping these schoolgirls, and the leader, Abu Bakr Shekau, had said that the girls shouldn't have been in school in the first place, just indicating where the group is coming from. They also have carried out a large amount of attacks on churches, bombing them, attacking Sunday services, in part because they dislike Christians, and in part because they want to stir up tensions between Christians and Muslims, thinking that that would play into their own hands.
And how successful are they in doing that?
They haven't had the full success that they would like. If you look back to the 1990s, late 1990s in northern Nigeria, there's a great deal of communal clashes, which they would like to stir up again. There's been some success. I mean, they have caused intercommunal tension. They've caused killings of Muslims by Christians and vice versa. But they haven't triggered the all-on religious war that would benefit a militant group such as them.
And that's part of their goal. Jamie, the State Department said today that they're putting together a coordination cell, military intelligence trying to help support the Nigerian government. Tell us a little bit about what that can do and whether or not that can help get these girls back.
Thanks, Jenna. Yeah, at this stage, Carney's right. Time is of the essence. It's primarily an intelligence operation at this stage. An interagency team of military and law enforcement can bring to bear some robust intelligence collection platforms and unique equipment to collect that intelligence and bring appropriate forces to bear to bring these girls back.
And that's the short-term goal, David. The short-term goal is to get these girls back. The long-term goal, though, is one I have to ask you about. How do we destroy this group? Doesn't sound like they're the type of people we want around, whether they're in Africa or anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to do. Look, groups like this have demonstrated that they're extraordinarily resilient. They're difficult to destroy, even by leadership decapitation. This group has a large number of members, and it's not clear what the longer-term U.S. strategy is. That's something that still needs to be formulated. My guess is that ultimately the U.S. is going to settle on a containment type of strategy
is that the right strategy, David?
I think at this point it probably is. You know, I'd love to see this group destroyed. I'd love to see us make sure that it doesn't come back. But that's very difficult to do. And one of the lessons I think of the past 13 years is that when you get overambitious, that can often suck you in much more than you intend.
Jamie, what do you think about that?
I agree with David. There has to be an overriding policy, a foreign policy set by the U.S. government to combat human trafficking. You can't look at this in a vacuum. There are definite nexus to the drug trafficking, the weapons trafficking, and the human trafficking. And this group, Boko Haram, has direct ties to AQIM, specifically Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb,
right. Well, that's
among others.
David, you've looked into extensively is their ties. But just finishing up here with a final point, you know, we've taken a look at Northern Africa. There's a size of Northern Africa, the size of Texas, that has become virtually an Islamic state. So this is not just an isolated event to Nigeria and Boko Haram. There's a threat of extreme Islam and terrorism across North Africa. Is this the correct strategy there, in your opinion, containment, or do we have to be more aggressive?
I think right now the correct strategy is containment. I think that ultimately formulating a more robust strategy is important, but putting boots on the ground is not the kind of thing that should be in the cards right now. This is ultimately something that local governments should deal with, and the U.S. should help.
David and Jamie, great to have you both on the program. A story we'll continue to watch and hope and pray for the safe return of those girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.